y'all. It's your girl Keitha, and I'm going to be reviewing Real Housewives of Atlanta. We're on season 7. We still looking at this shit. So the first episode is really giving me nothing. Because as of right now, with all the promo and everything going on, we know that there's going to be 2 new chicks. We know that Portia has been repoed of the peach. And we know that Apollo is going to jail, which is what they clearly wanted us to focus on the first episode. He's going to jail now. So, Phaedra's pretty much like, I know you done got yourself in some shit. And really that has nothing to do with me. As a mother, I kind of respect where she's going with it. But as a wife, there's no way my husband would be sitting in court, regardless of, the things that he was charged of. I just feel like my obligation as a wife is to, stand there. But also as a fan and an audience member, I feel like if you've been watching the last few seasons, Apollo and Phaedra were already pretty much heading towards divorce. This was just the cherry on top, the last straw. Whatever freaking, phrase you want to use. This was the last thing that Phaedra wanted to fucking deal with. And so as of right now, she's got a hotel out in Atlanta somewhere. Apollo's at home left to deal with his thoughts and getting prayers from Todd and Candy and, a few other of his homeboys and people that support him. For the most part, Phaedra's just not here for the fuck shit. So, I feel her. I did kind of feel bad for Apollo. His brother came out to support him, to go into court with him. He was reaching out to different people. Peter called him. Todd was with him. Well, not with him, but called him to say, he had his back or whatever. But still, it's nothing like, being married. That's the one person you would expect to be out there supporting you. But, like I said, from the audience perspective, we know that it's been bullshit with Phaedra and Apollo for 2 seasons now. So it's about 2 years worth of shit. And Phaedra's been really good about not showing the camera her emotions. And she said something about that in this episode. I've never really seen Phaedra getting her feelings, as far as her relationship with Apollo. So, she's probably dealing with it in her own kind of way. She doesn't really want to do it on the cameras. But you're a reality TV star, girl. So while they're dealing with that, I guess Kenya and Cynthia are, BFFs now, because Nene threw Cynthia over to the curb, called her boring and everything else in the book. And, Cynthia, I have this thing with Cynthia where I want to love her, and she really isn't as drama-filled as a lot of other people, but she rubbed me the wrong way last season when she got into it with Candy, and she didn't realize what her faults was, and she was kind of high and mighty about the whole situation at the pillow talk party. Y'all remember that, right? She kind of stood behind other people when they were speaking up, but really didn't confront anybody on their shit until, until it was the last moment, or somebody else was in the confrontation with somebody she had an issue with, then she felt the need to bring it up. So anyways, Kenya and Cynthia are talking, and pretty much, Kenya's giving her little victim speech about getting drugged by Portia. And I don't condone violence, but she's got to know that she deserved that ass whooping. You had a megaphone, girl. You had a scepter. You just didn't expect to get your ass whooped, but you from Detroit. I don't understand. But girl, cry a river, do what you gotta do, build a bridge, and get the fuck over it, because we don't sympathize with you. And she was mad because a lot of people were upset with her, and a lot of people were into Portia, which is funny, but it's understandable at the same time. Kenya is not a teenager. Kenya is not some adolescent that's learning the ways of life at this point. Kenya knows that, if you provoke people, and I would call that provoking, because if anybody should have been pissed or dragging anybody, it should have been Cynthia. Right? There's no way you're going to be pointing shit over me and yelling through a megaphone to somebody who's sitting next to me and we not get into it. If anybody, Cynthia. But they're talking, Cynthia's talking about she's not friends with Nene anymore, and they're just basically having a pity party. But Kenya's spectacle. She's gonna turn up and make drama for the TV. So I'm here for her. Cynthia, not so much. And I do agree with Nene in a lot of the interviews that she said that where Cynthia is born. And I think she is. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'd rather have Peter hold a peach than Cynthia. Real talk. We need to find out what Andy is. We need to switch, make her a supporting role for Peter. Peter needs to be a main role on this series. Or am I just... Candy and Tide are, they're still newlyweds. They haven't had a honeymoon yet. Whatever. They'll get to it. But they're moving everybody into the house. So they have Riley and the daughter. I forget her name. Tide's daughter. She's 18. They're thinking about moving her into the house. And Candy, as cheap as she is, you wouldn't think that she was talking about giving the 18-year-old a Range Rover. And I completely agree with Tide when they were talking about, what's she going to get. We're going to learn her, teach her how to drive. What school she going to go to and all this madness. So I agree with Tide. She needs like a Honda or like a cheap car or something like that for her to be a startup. And like I said, that surprised me because Candy is cheap. Just look at the wedding, like it was high priced and low maintenance at the same time, So, Mama Joy still has her issues and we'll see that. But they didn't really delve into that this episode, but you can tell there's still tension. I think they're thinking about building a family, which I'll be here for. I love Candy. So I'm looking forward to seeing, as the season goes on, what happens and what their plans are for a family. Because I love Tide and Candy together. I want them to work out. And personally, I want Mama Joyce to just get a life, get some penis, and, live her life. I think she's got more life to live, and she should just let Candy and Tide live theirs and just... It seems too much like, right? Nene is now starring in Zumanity in Vegas. It's this show. It looks like a bunch of sex and naked bodies. And Nene's getting her life and she's got opportunities in front of her. And, she's going to freaking throw that in everybody's face this season. They don't really get into Nene that much. Her and Greg doing the old folks thing and just talking. And she's glad to be away from them. It wasn't a lot going on this episode. It's gonna come into high gear because that's what Real Housewives of Atlanta does. Portia did a short little, maybe not even 5-minute little portion of she's doing a photo shoot and looking bad as ever in it. Portia is bad. Like, I'm glad her titties are finally settling in. You know what I'm saying? Because at the reunion they were sitting up high and just tight and uncomfortable looking, but I'm glad they settling down. She's got the, they're sitting pretty, and she's always been gorgeous to me. So, and that swimsuit was just everything to me. Like, so she has a hairline. I follow her on Instagram. So she has a hairline called Go Naked, which I'll never be able to afford. But for y'all that like to spend big money on bundles and shit, she has a hairline. That was pretty much the episode. If I left anything out, go ahead and post it below, but I'm pretty sure that was it. Like I said, this first episode was it wasn't boring, but it was like an intro of things to come. And that trailer, we know we're going to get shit. And plus, we still have not met the 2 new housewives, which is going to be Cynthia Jordan. I know her as a co-host on the Ricky Smiley Show, which I believe is a brand new gig for her. But before then, I think I saw her on Tiny Tonight, and if you pay attention to the blogs, you kind of see her face, urban blogs and shit. You see her face out and about with random celebrities. So I know her a little bit, getting to know her better now since I'm in Texas, and the morning show is Ricky Smiley Show here. Back in Pensacola, it was the Steve Harvey Show. So I know her now. I know her voice. I know her face. So I'm looking to see what drama she stirs up. Looks like she's going to be fucking with Portia this season. Messing around with Cordell, maybe be her new beard, Cordell, The Demetria McKinney. And I know her a lot better than Claudia because she was in a lot of Tyler Perry plays when he was selling the DVDs and the plays. I know her from... I know it because this DVD is here somewhere. House of Pain, because I love that show. She was like the crackhead mom on House of Pain. So she has a beautiful voice. She can act pretty decently. And it looks like she's had a little bit of plastic surgery, like since the Tyler Perry, portion of her life. So they really haven't, spilled too much tea on what her role is here. It looks like Kenya's gonna be fucking around with the dude that she's talking to. So, Kenya's always gotta go after somebody's man. Even though I thought she was talking to some dude in Africa, but we ain't gonna talk about that. We're gonna digress and we're gonna move on. Anyways, that's gonna be my review for today. They gave me nothing. I'm here to see what Kenya's gonna stir up. I'm here for Phaedra moving on, because as much as I want Phaedra to, stick it out and be there for Apollo, 8 years. Oh my God, 8 years is a long time to just be sitting at home and on top of a relationship that was already kind of dwindling. There's no way. I'm sorry. So I'm here to see, how Phaedra, hopefully she kind of, I don't want to see her break in front of the camera, but just show a little bit of emotion. She's always so prim and proper and just speaking. I just want her to be raw with us as the audience. Since, she's here. Give it to us, girl. Let us know what's going on, because you coming off heartless, kind of. And I don't want you to come off heartless, because Phaedra is like, between Phaedra and Candy, those are both of my two favorites on the show, because for the most part, they are the realists. It's just that Phaedra, she shies from showing her true emotions about her relationship with Apollo. And as a viewer, I would love to see, that out of her. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully we get into this season, it starts being a little bit more, juicy. I know they're gonna focus a lot on Apollo, but I know that Kenya next episode, she's still gonna be fucking with Apollo. She don't know how to listen, because clearly the last 2 seasons, Phaedra was like, just stay the fuck away from Apollo, we ain't gonna have no problems. But she consistently just does not know her boundaries. So I personally like to see Phaedra slap the shit out of Kenya. That's me. I said I don't condone violence, but after a while you gotta learn to listen. You gotta learn to listen.